award on the stage. How brilliant. Muchísimas gracias to Augustine and the wonderful Hans, Irene, Jerome, and Bo. Wow, talk about an all-killer, no-filler lineup right there, and the award at the end. That was absolutely beautiful. So thank you again to our wonderful sponsors, Wyra. We really appreciate your presence here. We appreciate you supporting 4 years from now, and we really appreciate you coming back for 4 consecutive years to talk about the amazing work of the Alliance to really bring this incredible technology, this incredible leadership into our wonderful startup ecosystem. So my dear friends, as you will see, the chairs are being magically moved behind me. I just want to remind you that this event is always about networking. It's about building the 4 years from now ecosystem. So we encourage you to take part in all the networking exercises. A little reminder, I might have mentioned it once or twice, that we are all having beer this evening. Yes, indeed, free beer in the just at this bar, the Barcelona Beat Bar is just by the exit on this floor. Free beer, 6 to 7. It's a happy hour. We want you to be there, and we want you to be happy. That's why there's free beer. We hope you're going to join us there. Okay, our next amazing session. If you're at the back, I can see lots of people at the back. There are seats at the side. There are seats at the front. I'm not surprised. This is going to be a full session because it is about orchestrating the Agentic AI tech stack. There's so much of a buzz around Agentic AI. It is a really hot topic, and we have a power trio to really go deep into this topic for you right now. Before we welcome them on stage, I would like to say thank you so much to our wonderful sponsors, EY, for your support, for bringing us this great power trio of thought leaders, and also for preparing a little video to get you all in the mood.
In a world of seismic change, will your business shape the future or be shaped by it? How will we capture the imagination of tomorrow's consumers? Harness technology and AI to shape the way we live our lives. And balance environmental responsibility with economic prosperity. With EY's full spectrum of services across sectors, we're all in to shape the future with confidence.
Excellent. Wonderful. Thank you again, EY, for your sponsorship, for your support. Now, I'm going to tell you about the Power Trio first, and then we're going to welcome them onto the stage. They requested a bit of a different intro to the previous sessions that have been on the stage, so do get ready to welcome the heavyweight champions of the Agentic AI stack. They're about to crush it on the stage right now. Our magnificent moderator is the Global Emerging Technology Ecosystems leader at EY, Jay Persaud. He's going to be joined by the CEO and founder of Explain, Hassan Sawaf, and rounding off the power trio, about to rock it on the stage, the Agora stage, is the CEO and co-founder of Cerebras, and that is, of course, Andrew Feldman. So we've got the red corner, green corner, blue corner right there. They're coming on to battle it out on the stage. Please give it up and show your appreciation for Jay, Hassan, and Andrew. Thank you. Dude, thank you. Welcome, guys. Great to see you.
I like that, heavyweights. Yeah. Hey, good afternoon, everyone. How are you today? Well, gentlemen, I'm Jay with EY. I'm delighted to be with Hassan and Andrew today. That intro was something. So yeah, let's see how we follow this up. I don't know if you all know this, but Andrew was in the Middle East last week, and he opened for Will Smith. Yeah, they're going to tell us more about that. So you guys don't need an introduction, right? The topic today is the agentic value chain, and we've all seen the evolution of AI recently. It's coming pretty quickly at us with agentic systems, agents being able to reason and act. And we've gotten there pretty quickly from chatbots, from co-pilots, and that sort of thing. So today, we're going to try to unpack that a little bit. Both of your companies, phenomenal participants in that value chain. You do different things. You sit in different places. But we'll try and orient ourselves around that, talk a little bit about what you're doing, and then maybe leave the audience with a better view, hopefully, of what's ahead of us. So with that, Hassan, maybe let's start with you. Let's talk a little bit about Explain, what you do, what makes you special, how you,
All right.
we might have to do this the old-fashioned way. I know you can speak pretty loudly.
Not loud enough for this.
Yeah. All right, excellent.
Let's see.
So we're ready to roll. Over to you. Talk a little bit about yourself, your company, what makes Explain special.
All right. Am I audible? Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, what about Explain? So Explain is basically the next generation of building solutions. I mean, we have experienced over the last, let's say, 20 or so years, ways on how to build solutions with the way of SaaS. And I think you have heard it now from multiple leaders in this conference as well as in others, that SaaS is gonna die, change, whatever, and basically everything is gonna move in towards the agentic way of building solutions. So from functions to roles. That's what we are preparing our users to develop, or that's what our users are doing since 2021. For that, we basically are restructuring the way of thinking of building solutions. For that, we need a different set of hardware. I think we have one of the better partners on this stage to talk to you about this one. So this is what Explain is. The idea came actually while I was leading an AI organization in AWS, where we basically were building AI to serve SaaS, where my thinking is it might actually need to be the exact opposite. And I think the market is converging to where we were actually 4 years ago.
So if any of us here in this room wanted to go out and get agents built, we would call you.
Yes, well,
And
or
we-
they can do it by
Or they can do it,
themselves
but we
on the
use your platform.
Exactly.
Okay, awesome. Andrew, so I have to check my notes because I'm going to give some numbers here that I have to get right. So you produce the world's largest AI processor.
We do.
Which I see. High efficiency, lower power consumption, with a peak performance of 125 petaflops. That's a lot. And I know you've been doing this for a while. You've been working at it for a while. I mean, both you guys have, right? So I've seen the stats done by independent analysts, and it's really amazing what you've created. So what made you do it? What are its advantages? How is it going in the market?
So in 2015, we saw AI on the horizon. And we thought we could build a better processor, and put that processor in an accelerator, and write a compiler for it, and sell an AI computer system. And we saw the opportunity to accelerate one of the most difficult parts of AI, and that's the communication. The actual calculations in AI are relatively simple, mostly multiply and accumulate. But intermediate results are moved a great deal. And we saw an opportunity that if we were to build a chip that was larger than any other chip that had ever been built, we would keep more information on that chip, we would move it less, we'd use less power, and we'd eliminate the time it took to move the data. And what we built was this. This was the world's largest chip. It's about 56 times larger than the next largest. 900,000 cores, and it is now the fastest at AI training and at AI inference. And so if you go up on daily benchmark sites, and there are a whole group of them, I encourage you to visit Artificial Analysis or some of the other guys. You can track our scores daily, we do, and we're running about 70 times faster than a GPU today.
Amazing. So with the latest, we're all talking about agentic AI. What does that mean for you, and what do you mean for all of us that want to make use of agentic AI?
An agentic AI flow usually has several components. It has a triage, which breaks the prompt up into several tasks, right? And those tasks are sent down different inference flows. And some of those inference flows are reasoning flows. And they take time. And they take more, we call it inference time compute. And that's why if you use O1 or if you use DeepSeek R1, the results sometimes arrive slowly. And they can be infuriatingly slow. 8 minutes to get a nice result, 4 minutes to get a nice result, or we can give it to you in 2 seconds.
That's unbelievable.
And so what it does is it takes the work that the guys at Explain and at other places do in delivering your agentic model, and it makes it blisteringly fast. And that's the heart of the user experience, is value delivered quickly. And we're on the quickly side.
I think there is additional value here when you're building an agent. It's different than building an LLM. An LLM you can run on Cerebras, you can run on the GPU. There's something to that, but the latency plays a bigger role even with agents, because with agents you have components talking to each other not in a linear fashion, but they're negotiating. The faster a chip can work and generate results, the better the quality of the overall agent is.
That's right.
And instead of basically saying, oh, I have only one pass, I can allow multiple passes. Just tell basically the agent, your turnaround time should be 1 second, 10 seconds, or something like that. And then how often the agent is talking to each other, different agents talking to each other, is just limited by the hardware, by what chip are you using. It's sometimes 1 pass, it's sometimes 10 passes. And so the faster the chips are, the better it is for the AI developer now building agents.
Where you need the results right away.
Where you need the results within a certain defined time, and then you can actually allow multiple passes, more conversations between the agents, or just, one.
Better answers in less time.
Yep. So, Andrew, I've seen you. You were very vocal. I've seen you speak after the DeepSeek moment, and you had a point of view. And thank you. Right? I mean, many people are, I think, grateful to you. Can you talk to the audience a little bit about that moment and what it means now for AI going forward, and for each of us to participate in this chain?
Look, first, DeepSeek came out and they said they'd used less compute power to train.
Yeah.
And they quoted some numbers. I think as a community, we all came to believe that they were lying, that they'd actually used more than they said. Right. However, they used less than others. So both. They underestimated what they'd actually used, but it was still less than many others. And this caused, in the US, it caused a big market sell-off. And I think the Wall Street has gotten the compute industry wrong in its first step every time this has happened in the last 50 years. That every time we've been able to invent something that uses less compute, that makes compute cheaper, that makes it faster, the first instinct of Wall Street is to say, therefore the market is smaller, we should sell. And without exception, they've been wrong. The market has always gotten bigger. When we make compute less expensive, the market is bigger. There is an enormous demand for lower cost compute. And my point of view is just that DeepSeek will help the industry. It will drive more users to the industry. It will galvanize action. It was built by a much smaller team than OpenAI or than Anthropic. There are nations around the world. There's no reason India doesn't have multiple, right? Large language models and foundation models. The UAE has several. There's no reason Singapore doesn't have. You don't need tens of billions of dollars like OpenAI used. You can do it with a team of 200 world-class people, and you can do it for a few $100 million. And I think there are lots more places who can do it than have done it so far. Those were some of the things I took away from the DeepSeek moment.
Yeah, so we all need compute that's more reasonably priced.
We do.
And it's like anything, if something costs less, we'll probably use more of it.
we're going to use more of it. And it's not a paradox.
Yeah.
It's not confusing. It's not a paradox.
Yeah.
It's people want to use it, and they stop at some budget. And if you drive that budget, if you make it less expensive, they use more, and we find more ways for it to be used. Right? And we used to say that about the PC, right? Oh, look, it's so cheap, and now we've got one in our pocket, and we wear one on our wrist, and there's one in our dishwasher, and one in our washing machine, and one on our phone, and each of our kids' toys has one, and our car has 6, right? That's what happens when compute gets cheap.
Indeed. Okay. So, Gen AI, Agentic AI, you've been doing Agentic AI for a while, Hassan. You've told me this.
Since 92.
Since 1992.
Yeah.
So you know what's real and what's not real. So let's run it to ground a little bit. Talk to us about maybe an example of what you're working on, what, you know, your customer example, for example.
Yeah.
One of those.
So, I mean, I can tell you the one story which is my favorite, actually. So we have a customer which came a couple years ago to us, and they're in insurance. They actually had, so they have 75 human agents picking up the phones, responding to to their customers, and managing claims. Now, when the hurricane hits, 75 people have to serve 10,000 people waiting in line to solve a problem. It's physically impossible. I mean, you need to recruit the people who can answer the questions correctly. It takes some time to train them. Usually they are, if they're professional, a half a year until they are productive in their environment. So they came to us and to our platform and basically ideated with our tools and tried to figure out what can they do. And then they augmented the human agents with AI agents. Build agents to be able to converse with the user, tell the user to take a picture of a damage in the house. From that picture, it will identify the form of the roof, for example, the material of the roof, cross-reference that with satellite images, and be able to give you basically a rough estimate where the range is, where the house repair can be done. Now, if the user comes with a contracting company having offered something and it's within the range, it can be approved immediately instead of needing someone to be sent over and then going through all kinds of things, and weeks or months later they can actually figure out their problem. So this was a very beautiful experience, in particular because the people which actually worked on the platform are not AI specialists. They did not do 30 years of AI before they were able to do this. With the right tools, you can do that much faster. You don't need to understand the full stack anymore. I mean, the system will figure out what chip to use, what LLM to use, what kind of other models to use, and then basically give you a good agent from the get-go, which you can improve on further and further as an engineer. So this was a good experience. Agentic AI is allowing us, everyone, to basically build capabilities, which used to be hard even for us as AI specialists.
As engineers, yeah.
As engineers, yeah. Exactly. Which is beautiful because now the chief claims officer, which built this, which is totally non-technical, can actually build something and communicate with an engineer, with a domain expert, and iterate. So one of the most important things is the rate of innovation is linear to the rate of experimentation. The more people and the more speed you can actually put in to experiment, the better the system is in a linear fashion. So, I mean, we are typically constrained by either we don't have infrastructure to help us experiment fast enough, we don't have the people, we don't have the data, etc. If everything is there, you can actually innovate much faster and much stronger. So this was a good example, I think, to prove the point 2 years ago that this is it.
You make it sound simple.
Well, it's not simple. You know, but you know what is hard?
Yeah.
It is hard to define how the data sources can be connected, what model to use, what infrastructure to use. Those are hard things. But if you have a platform which can actually help you navigate all this, because today, every day there is a new model, every day there is a new chip, every day there is a new capability in AI, infrastructure, new player in the market. You need to actually have machine learning and AI help you navigate through this confusing world. And that's what Explain is. That's what we're trying to do.
Andrew, from your perspective, let's talk about agents a little bit. And you know, we're talking about it now. You've explained to me, when I first met him, he explained to me, Jay, this is not new. And maybe how you're talking about it and thinking about it is newer. But talk to us a little bit about the role you're playing with your company, your technologies, as we all, as customers,
Sure.
think about what we ought to do going forward.
Well, I think the first thing is that Hassan's broader point is just fundamentally true, that the easier we make it is to use AI, the more we drive adoption. And when only an AI specialist can do AI, then you have rare adoption.
Sure.
As people build tools like Explain and others that allow you as a domain expert to get the benefit of agentic AI, that's when you get wide-scale adoption, right?
Right.
To build an app that has a payment system, you need to know nothing about payment systems, right? You need to bolt onto Stripe, right? And your payment, it's one line of code, and all your payment problems go away. And as we move towards that, with products like Hassan's, right, you get to focus on what you want to do, not the AI underneath. And agentic AI is one technique to solve a whole bunch of problems for you. An insurance problem, it can be a problem in heavy manufacturing, it can be a logistics problem, it can be a market-making problem. And it should be compared to other ways of solving that problem. In many cases, it's the best way. But what we need to do is, companies like Cerebras, we need to make it fast so the answers are good.
Yeah.
Then the software guys need to come along and they need to deliver tools to the domain experts. So the guys who know logistics, who know radiology, they can build agentic tools quickly and easily without requiring huge swaths of PhDs from the local university in order to get it to work. And I think we're just beginning to see that right now. I think a year ago, it was still early. The AI was a novelty. The tools were raw. And right now, we're in a situation where we're beginning to show value, where the tools are getting more mature, what they can do is more interesting, and we're delivering more value.
Kind of reminds me when programming was only an assembly. And then...
That's right, nobody could do it.
And no one can do it. Only a very small set of people, 10,000 people in a country or something can actually sit down and program assembly code. And then programming languages gotten much more easy that a typical engineer can actually do it.
Right.
But they had to basically switch the way they think about how to build a solution. What we're doing now is similar. So we're still using a lot of core capabilities which were available for a long time, like I told you. But the way of thinking is changing. So instead of us thinking for the machine in workflows, if that happens, do this, use that model to adapt this one, etc. No, you don't need to think that way anymore. With an agent, you turn into a role-based model.
That's right.
But each agent has a role. Think about more an HR system. Basically, you are recruiting AI agents to solve a bigger problem. So that's, I think, the mind shift which we have to do to basically benefit the most out of the agentic world.
So we're this part of Mobile World Congress. There are startups in the audience, and I know both your stories. They're unbelievable stories. And what I wanted to do with our remaining time was maybe go there a little bit, Andrew and Hassan. So, Andrew, could you talk a little bit about your history, how you came to start Cerebras, your experiences before, how that informs where you're going next?
I'm a repeat entrepreneur. This is my 5th startup. We sold 3 and took 1 public.
Yeah.
I am a professional David in the battle with Goliath. I think the thought of not being the underdog appalls me. Yeah. I get up every day and I am motivated by 2 things: building extraordinary technology and using our mind against their muscle. And every dollar we sell, if we didn't work hard, would have gone to the 800-pound gorilla. It would have gone to the incumbent. And I take great pride in that. And I think it's not easy. I think it is enormously challenging, and I have just the utmost respect for those of you out there who are doing it. And anybody who's done it ought to have respect for those of you who are doing it. But I think, for me, I am much more afraid of succeeding in the ordinary than failing in something exceptional or the extraordinary. And
I like that.
I think, and I want to surround myself with other engineers and other people who are motivated and driven to try and do something exceptional, trying to do something that other people can't do or don't even try because it's too hard.
Yeah. You? Why'd you do this?
Why do I do this? Enablement is what drives me.
Yeah.
I mean, whether it's in a large corporation, I started the AI team at eBay, I started the applied AI team at AWS, I worked on AI for the wearable devices, which Facebook is going to do. It's all about enablement. What drives me is actually building technology which can actually enable millions of people to generate benefit for themselves. At AWS, we see it. And here with Explain, I believe, because we are building a completely new paradigm of thinking, we need people to change their way of thinking. It was actually, for me, motivating to leave a typical cloud service provider and build something from scratch to build this. That's it. So this is my startup number 5. Not all of them went positive.
So a year from now, we're sitting somewhere again with a beverage, perhaps, and things have moved quickly, just the way they have the past year or 2. And where are you 2 in your companies? What would you like it to look like? Where do you see the broader market? And what's the discussion like a year from now, if you had to sort of think forward a little bit?
From my perspective, I hope that we're going to be able to benefit everyone who is building agents, finding someone to buy. So we have, as part of what we're offering, is a marketplace.
Yeah.
People who are building agents can actually find people who need the agents to basically integrate it into bigger agents and whatnot. So
you think we're on our way to that?
I think so. We are at 40,000 agents already on the platform.
Okay.
And it's growing day by day, many hundreds. So this is good, and I think we're going to talk about not AI anymore. My goal is to stop talking about AI. We're going to talk about the actual problems AI is going to be solving. That we have done something that we are living 150 years old. That we have done something that we keep people more safe in whatever they do. That would be lovely to move from the AI-centric conversation which we have. Don't understand me wrong, I love the conversation because I started 30 years ago in this. But move away from that level to solving actually problems which we humans have to actually solve.
What do I think? I would be proud if in the next 1 to 2 years our technology was used to solve a fundamental problem for society. That if we could cure rheumatoid arthritis, a problem we're working on, if we could use our technology to develop a drug that would have taken a decade and we did it in 4 years instead. I think if we make a meaningful impact, the amount of money and the amount of human resources of our top people that we're dedicating to our industry is enormous. I think the burden's on us in our industry to solve some important problems in society. And I think that's what I'm motivated for, that's what our team's motivated for. And we'd love it to be on anybody's technology, we'd love it to be more on ours.
Andrew, I've seen some of the work you're doing in the US. It's public, so the Mayo Clinic, really helping people. I think healthcare is an incredible industry for AI, right?
Healthcare is an incredible industry for
Yeah.
AI. I think it's an industry that, at least in the US, and I'm sorry I don't know much about the Spanish system in the US, it's horribly mismanaged. It's unbelievably inefficient. And there are tremendous opportunities, not just to improve the delivery of healthcare, but to develop new therapeutics, new drugs, new techniques. And I think it is an area that is filled with data and a tremendous opportunity.
It's a place to be exceptional.
It's a place to be exceptional.
And the problems are hard.
And the problems are hard, and the results are meaningful.
Yeah, I congratulate you for focusing on it.
Thank you for that.
So
We have 17 seconds.
we're 17 seconds. Any final comments you want to leave the audience with?
No, I mean, healthcare and AI,
Yeah.
this is why I studied computer science and medicine.
Sure.
Makes total sense. Education might be another component.
Okay.
I mean, the education we are doing today is a little bit antiquated in comparison with the technology which we're having. I totally agree. Healthcare is number one.
All right, well, thank you, guys. A hand for the panelists, please.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.